All right, we're stepping into part 3, the transformation. Our fifth step of this study is the remembrance, building the altar. God commanded the Israelites to pile stones after crossing the Jordan so that they would never forget his power. Remembering is an act of love that binds our heart back to God's. Recalling God's faithfulness is how we can keep our hearts soft. It reminds us that we are a part of an ongoing story of his goodness. Remembering can be a weapon against doubt in those times when we are just feeling lost or having questions. But remembering can also be a way to just remain at home in God's love. So let's think over your own life in this section. When did God show up as that name or attribute for you? I want you to be specific in this part. What was the day like? What was the outcome? So I really want you to go back in that memory and I want you to sit with that thing and meditate on how God was that name or attribute for you. Once you have that in your mind, I want you to write it down as a permanent record. By recording this in your journal, you are setting a stone in your soul. You are ensuring that when future storms come, you have a physical reminder of who God has already proven himself to be for you. With step 6, we're going to look in the mirror here. All right? We are called to be images of God. Genesis 1:27 talks about that, how we are made in his image. If we know he is this attribute or this name, we must ask how that truth should be mirrored in our own character so that we can represent him to the world. So we're going to hold that attribute, that name, up to our current life. For example, if God is a restorer, we're going to ask ourselves, are we being a restorer in our relationships? We're going to ask God, how can we display this name and attribute of God towards others? To be like Jesus is to take that name that we just studied and let it change the way we treat other people around us. This world is hurting, y'all. People are broken. People are in need of our God. And sometimes the only image of that God that they'll see is in us. They may be like me. I was turned off by the church, you all. I did not think very highly of Christian people. I was like 25, 26 when I was saved, okay? I didn't have a good image of the church. I was not stepping foot in anybody's church. But do you know God sent me someone to display his characteristics and his nature and begin to minister to me about him? And it was through her being like Jesus that drew me to him. And then I eventually made my way into the church. All right, so this is so important that not only are we encountering God as this name and attribute, but that we are displaying this image of God here on the earth.